The railfanning community has always been, well, let's just say not normal. Very far from normal, to say the absolute least. That's not to go without saying you'll find half reasonable people sometimes, but 9 times out of 10, everyone is just absolutely ridiculous, and I'm pretty sure this is common knowledge by now. But bro, like, this has gone too far. It wasn't even that long ago when the biggest concern for the reputation of railfanning was idiotic kids screaming at station platforms with their iPads referred to as foamers, and we thought we were gonna turn into some outlawed and hated hobby. I mean, maybe hated, but not outlawed. And then of course we always have the many instances of trespassers, kids who think that because they're rail fans they're above the law or something. And I wish this was the worst thing people in this community would do, but they'll go way further. At some point, the mental illness in this hobby evolved to a point where we now have a kid who is famous for his idiotic stunts of climbing all over locomotives, recording himself trespassing, and most notably, setting switches. We've all seen this clip, I'm sure, but it's good to bring it up every now and again just to make sure this kid knows we haven't forgiven his stupidity yet, and quite frankly, I don't think anyone ever will, for a very good reason. Another thing I found worth mentioning that nobody has really discussed yet as far as I know is this clip of a kid who apparently found a talk button on his scanner and had the audacity to ask if any trains were coming on a CSX line.
Trains coming through. CSX Police Special Agent, any further unauthorized radio traffic will be investigated and dealt with accordingly. Hello? Hello? Coming through?
Stop talking on the radio.
Bro really thought it was that easy. Unbelievable. And I'm pretty sure it's probably happened more than once. This probably just happened to be caught on the radio feed. And then of course, another event in the train watching space that has taken place recently was CP 2816's journey through Mexico, where it had many near misses with spectators and even unfortunately took the life of somebody. I have a whole separate video on this topic though, so we won't dive into that again. Definitely go check it out after this. So with all this stuff to already fry our reputations to a crisp, this kid comes along. And he was fortunate enough to catch a train derailing on camera.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my freaking god! Oh my god, are they okay?
Isn't that something? He just happened to be right where the train derailed at that exact moment in that exact place. Too much of a coincidence for you? Yeah, well, me too. 2 locomotives and 5 cars derailed, which amounted to, only $350,000 in damage. Bro, $350,000. It's just pocket change for the railroad, I'm sure, but that's $350,000. That's over $250,000 just straight down the drain, all because, well, allegedly as far as we know, this idiot wants a little bit of attention. And did I mention that this guy is 17? If he is found guilty by the court, he will have a 3rd-degree felony under his belt.
At 17.
And let's not even mention, aside from all the money, somebody could have been killed, because if this train would have been going any faster, I think that would have been very likely. So let's give him the benefit of the doubt for a few seconds. He and many proposed that a coal train that had gone through beforehand was tasked with setting out a defective car in the spur track that this train derailed it. Something that happens relatively often and nothing too out of the ordinary. According to the kid, the crew of that coal train who set the car out forgot to reposition the spur switch with the main, which was the cause of this derailment. Now, we can safely assume this is dark territory. Anytime a crew does anything with a switch in dark territory, they have to let the dispatcher know before and after and which position it's left in before they're even allowed to move an inch. So if the crew didn't call the dispatcher to let them know it was realigned with the main, chances are the dispatcher very likely would have called them to ask, which would have reminded them. And if they still didn't throw it back to the original position after being reminded, that would mean the crew would have deliberately lied to the dispatcher saying they'd close the switch when they hadn't. This theory in itself is already highly unlikely. We still haven't spoken about what basically sets this kid's fate in stone: the security camera footage. I haven't managed to find it on the internet, but reports say that a security camera caught I think it was a Buick something, and a man tampering with the switch shortly before this incident. Then another one a few minutes later caught that exact same Buick. The same person set up a tripod and filmed the incident. If the kid is innocent, this is some bad luck. But this is just too much of a coincidence. I mean, the fact he was right where the derailment happened is already too much of a coincidence. And then there's this. He's likely going to have to serve some time in juvie and I believe a $5,000 fine. But if he was just a year older, he likely would have been locked away for terrorism. It really seems like railfans have such a terrible reputation that somehow keeps getting progressively worse as time goes on. Can we do anything to earn back our reputation? Short answer, no. You can help it by not purposely derailing trains for clout though.